Hi, and welcome to another episode of White Women in Distress. This podcast is dedicated to raising awareness for missing kids, teens, and adults. My goal is to spread awareness and to help bring any of the missing people back home. As a community and as a country, we must come together to find these individuals. If you were in the shoes of those who have someone missing, then you would want someone to speak up so you could get your loved one home. Remember, you don't have to put yourself at risk. You can always report tips anonymously. Everyone deserves to know the truth about what happened, and the families deserve closure. Please note this episode may contain discussions of violent crimes that could be distressing to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Today, we're discussing the case of Melvin Horst. Melvin was last seen in December of 1928. He lived with his family near Vine Street and Paradise Street in Oroville, Ohio. So if anybody knows anybody that was around that area at the time, they may know something or they may not know anything. But on Christmas in 1928, Melvin had received a red toy truck as a gift. And on the 27th of December, he went to play with his friends at a nearby empty lot, which it was only a block from his house, so he was still within the neighborhood. As it got late, he told his friends that he needed to go home, and that was the last time he was ever seen or heard from again. His mother had called him for dinner, and when he didn't show up, she sent his brother out to look for him to bring him back. And he couldn't find him, so he went home, and then him and his mother proceeded to look and ask the neighbors if they had seen him, and no one had seen anything. Melvin's father came home after work, and they told him what was going on, and they called the police, who began an extensive search immediately. Theories about his disappearance ranged from ransom to personal vendettas. He was a 4-year-old boy. Any personal vendetta that this may have been for was not handled correctly. Like, you could have, whoever the problem was with, it could have been a simple fist fight. It could have been a simple argument, not the abduction of a 4-year-old boy. Anyways, Charles Jr. Hanna, a kid that was in the neighborhood, like in around the neighborhood, accused his brother-in-law Elias and Arthur Arnold, who were placed in jail for 3 months, and later they were acquitted because where Charles and the other neighborhood boy said that they had heard and saw certain things, there was no way that they could have from where they were after police did the investigations. So another theory is that organized crime figure Tony LaFatch allegedly kidnapped Melvin. But despite all of these leads, Melvin's case remained unsolved. And the other theory that they had is that someone was driving by and hit Melvin, freaked out, took his body, and that was that. However, Melvin's toy truck that he had gotten for Christmas was in the front yard of his home, and it was on. There was no evidence of a car coming into contact with Melvin, or because there would be blood, there would be evidence of a car striking a child, especially a 4-year-old. But the toy, because it's specifically in the front yard, makes me feel like this was probably a personal vendetta, which is the like, this is the most horrible thing ever. And their thought, instead of I'm going to fight them is let me kidnap their child. Okay, I'm sure that that somehow equaled out to your level of upset. That was somebody's child. Somebody's brother? Grandchild? Really? Like, really? Despite all of these leads, Melvin's case still remains unsolved to this day. If you have any information about Melvin's case, please contact the Oroville Police Department at 330-684-5025. Even after nearly 100 years, any new information could help bring closure to his family, who is still hoping for answers.